So I'm going to go on the tour with you, so any of your questions we can always catch up to them later on. But I just wanted to show you, I don't know how much experience you have with treatment plants. So this is what raw sewage looks like. Mostly water, certainly some solids, but that's the nature of what we're trying to clean. This is what it looks like after it goes through a filter, and this is what it looks like when it leaves the plant. So, and this in comparison, this is if we don't use the sand filters, and this is if we use the sand filters. So it's quite a difference in the quality. So the process is more or less to remove what will settle, what we can screen out, and then for the organics that are dissolved in the water, we rely on the bacteria. And this brown solids, that's the bacteria that we've grown in the plant. We have a microscope, and this is what the bacteria looks like. So different, this is at a different magnification. There's different types of bacteria. These are the animals that are eating the bacteria, but the bacteria are really these flocculating kind of bacteria that clump, and then bacteria that grow in strings, filamentous bacteria. So these are some of the pictures I've taken off of our microscope. We want to have this kind of bacteria, the flocculating bacteria. We need some of the filamentous bacteria just because they form a framework, a skeletal kind of structure that the flocculating bacteria can clump to, but filamentous bacteria don't settle as well as the flocculating. So we want to have mostly of the flocculating bacteria so that the solids will settle, and then we can remove the solids from the liquid portion. So part of the plant is creating a home for the bacteria so that they will eat up the organics, and then the rest of the plant is kind of separating the solids, either the bacteria or the solids that are coming in the waste, the wastewater. Oscar's trying to get everybody to play. Yeah, Oscar. So let me see now. As we go through the plant, we'll start at the beginning. The first stage is to screen. We take the coarse solids out. We have fine screens that will just mechanically remove the sticks, the rags, as much as won't fit through the small screens. That's more or less. This is after that stage. So we could have something coming in that we wouldn't be able to, the bacteria wouldn't be able to consume. So that's removed at the first stage at the headworks. Then we have a primary clarifier, and that will just settle the quickly settling solids. That's mostly inorganics, that's sand and grit. That will go to our fermenter. The fermenter then is an anaerobic treatment tank. It just is a longer term. There are bacteria that are in there that don't require oxygen, and they remove these kind of solids. This is what goes to the fermenter. The solids that are removed, kind of that have settled here, that's what we try to do is stabilize it, thicken it, and from there okay, I'm going to come back to this. These solids, Oscar, leave that. The rest of the liquid portion from this goes to the bioreactor, and that's where the bacteria live. So the bacteria then will consume the organics that are in the wastewater. They will actually eat it. It's food for them. So we provide oxygen to them. They will remove the BOD, and they also will remove some of the nutrients. We don't want to discharge our effluents with high nutrients as in nitrogen and phosphorus, because that is a fertilizer. And if you put a fertilizer into a lake, you will create a not a good environment for the fish. So even though we don't discharge the lake, we still regulate, or we try to meet a lake quality effluent. So we hope that the bacteria will remove the phosphorus and the nitrogen. So that's in the bioreactor. After they have grown and are happy and are eating, eventually we have too much of them. So we have to get rid of these solids because as we are feeding them, we're always making more. So the rest of the plant then is to remove these solids, but the excess that we have. So the secondary clarifiers, which is the next stage after the bioreactor, that will compact these solids and we'll send it through a DAF, which is a dissolved air flotation tank, which thickens it. So this is the same. This is the mixed liquor, and at this point, now we're thickening it, taking the water out and making it more concentrated. We combine this fermenter solids and this biomass solids, make a blended sludge, and then run it through a centrifuge, and then this is the solids that actually leave the plant. That goes up to the composting facility where you guys were just at, and they make Ogogo out of it. So that's pretty well the rest of this. The liquid portion now, which is the top of this secondary clarifier, will go through sound filters, which clean it up a little bit more, because this is what's this is the amount of solids that are still coming off the top of the secondary clarifier. Once it goes through our sound filters and then through UV disinfection, this is what it will look like, and that's the solids that are in this. So we try to meet our effluent permit requirement is a BOD of 25 and a solids of 25 as well. We're not regulated really for phosphorus or nitrogen, although we do try to meet that, and we try to meet a total nitrogen of 6 and a total phosphorus of 0.25 milligrams per liter.
Sorry, what was it?
Total phosphorus of 0.25.
Katie, what would the normal BOD and TSS be on the effluent going up to?
Our normally less than our regulation is anything less than 10. That's the detection limit pretty well. We are usually less than 10, and our total solids are about 10 too. Any questions?
What was is there a certain ratio that you get for the filamentous bacteria versus the Flocculium one, or is it just kind of?
A lot of it is how well it settles, and how the conditions that you have in your plant. We have now in wintertime, the Flocculium bacteria are more sensitive than the filamentous, and so really it's you try to set up the growth conditions, and you target for really what you get is what you get, and then if it's not the right kind of bacteria mix, then you have to either try to kill the filamentous if you have too much of that, or you change the growth conditions. Maybe your oxygen is too low or too high, or it's not really something that you can control. It tends to be each plant. Probably Kelowna has a different look to the sludge. Their sludge may be a darker chocolate color, so but that's may just be the nature of the plant.